This card is one that is all about self-restriction, self-restraint, holding yourself back in fear, terror, sometimes in just wanting to be the victim. Hello and welcome back to Tarot Tuesday. I'm Amy the Medium, and today we are looking at the Eight of Swords. So let's dig right on into it, shall we? The Eight of Swords features a woman who is standing in front of the Eight Swords. She is bound and blindfolded, standing on ground that has a little bit of a mixture of water in it. Behind the swords, there appears to be a castle off in the distance. The artwork here looks a little bit grim, and it looks like there's a bad situation that this woman has gotten herself into, and that is what's key. She has gotten herself into this situation. What I love about the Eight of Swords and the way that I learned the Eight of Swords is if you look at how the swords are lined up behind her, they are all standing point down into the ground in a nice line. They are meant to be representative of the bars on, say, like a jail cell. So what's curious about this card, and this is where we really get the key of the meaning of this card, is she's not standing behind bars. She's in front of them. So that tells us she's not in some sort of prison that she's done something wrong and therefore she's got to be kept behind bars. She's created a prison of her own making in front of those bars. And if you look at her, the binding around her body, the binding around her eyes are not so tight that she can't remove them on her own. She could do a little shimmy dance and off those bounds would come. So what this card shows us is that this woman really is free, but she doesn't believe that she is because she's not willing to see the situation due to that blindfold, but also she's not willing to take the action to remove the bounds that she has actually placed on herself. So this card really tells us that we may be in a situation where we don't want to see the truth of it. We may feel like we've been backed into a corner. We may feel like we are a victim of circumstances, but it is all about how we feel. And that's where the water really comes into this as well, because water can be representative of our emotions and how they ebb and flow. It can also be representative of our intuition as well. So here is somebody who is feeling their emotions, but not really being willing to dig a little bit deeper into those emotions to understand why she's feeling that way and to understand that what she's feeling is something that she is placing on herself and that her own self-limiting beliefs are what is holding her in place, what's stopping her from getting out of the situation or moving forward or feeling like she has any sense of control in the situation as well. And if we look again at the background, there is what appears to be a castle that is kind of built into the mountainside behind her. Now, mountainsides, as we know, can represent wisdom, can represent safety and security. And so because it is on the other side of those bars, on the other side of what looks to be a body of water, it's off in the distance. That tells me that she doesn't feel like, one, that she can approach that castle because, again, there are the bars or the swords between her and that place. But also where she is now in that mental state that she's in with the blindfold, with the bounds, she is not ready for that enlightenment. She's also not ready to ask for any assistance from someone who may have the wisdom to help out in the situation. So even though it's right there, if she just turns around and looks, she's not willing to see it. So if you get this card in a reading upright, it means that there is something that you are doing, actions you're taking that are holding you back in a situation. Maybe you have a closed mind about a situation. Maybe you feel like the victim, like everything is happening around you and you've got no sense of determination or control in the situation. It could be that you are not willing to see the truth of a situation. It could be that you have these limiting beliefs that you want to hold on to. Those are all the reasons this card may come up. It's also a signifier for us that, hey, it is time to remove those bonds, remove the restriction, and to see things clearly, perhaps using your own intuition, perhaps feeling into those emotions that maybe you're not willing to accept or look at in the moment. But that's what this card wants us to do, move beyond the bounds. If you get this card upside down reverse in a reading, it means that you are starting to see that you are a part of the situation and you are part of creating the situation that you are in, and that you can take the actions to get yourself out. So when this card shows up reverse, it means that you've started to look at those self-limiting beliefs. You've started to look at, hey, am I causing this problem? Hey, am I being too much of a victim here? And you've started to realize there are things that you can do. Overall, the Eight of Swords is an opportunity, though, for us to look within and to see how our thoughts and our actions can be changed to change the environment around us. So that's this week's Tarot Tuesday. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much.